Hi, how are you?
I'm great. I'm great. My name is Ria and I'm from India. And what about you?
My name is Karina and I am from the United States, but I live in Spain.
Oh, you live in Spain.
I do.
That's great. That's great. So, how is it going in Spain currently?
It's fine. It's starting to be the summer, so the weather's getting very warm, and they've started to relax the restrictions from the virus, from the pandemic. So we're starting to see our families and our friends. So it's very good. How are you in India?
Oh, we are kind of great over here, but the cases are still rising.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we are in some danger or some problem, but the cases are still rising, and we are seeing a rise of case. So we are still thinking of having a lockdown again. So we are in a partial lockdown. Things have opened, but not a lot of things have opened. Not the gyms and these all things have not opened. Only the supermarkets and malls and places have opened.
Mm-hmm.
Restaurants have also opened, I guess. So these all places have opened, but we're still seeing a spike in cases. So things are still not in a very clear position yet.
Yeah. Well, it feels like we're all just experimenting and hoping things go well.
Exactly. So hearing that are the cases normal in Spain?
The cases have gone down significantly in Spain. I mean, we I live in Madrid, and so it was hit really hard by the virus, and we reached the peak. I think in April, maybe early May. But it's been going down steadily, and I think now the new cases every day are very low, um, and the deaths are even lower. So I feel like we've been through it, but we have to be careful not to make it rise again.
Exactly, exactly. So what do you think has worked for Spain?
They had one of the most strict lockdowns in the world. Like we weren't even allowed to go out for exercise. Children weren't out allowed to leave at all. Um, so I think it was very restrictive, and people didn't like it, obviously. But because it was so strict, they were able to get it under control. But we'll see what happens now that those restrictions are being lifted. I'm not sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That is, this is the testing time. So even in India, the restrictions have been lifted. We're not under a lot of restrictions, and the government is not mandating a lot of things yet. They've just not opened gym areas because they're very public and they're very surrounded by a lot of people.
Yeah.
But now that they've opened, we're still seeing a spike in cases. So I guess this is the testing time. This is where you'll get to know if what all strategies you applied are actually working or not. So I guess
Yeah.
this is what the time is. And I wish you all the best. I guess
You
I
too.
hope I at least hope that Spain gets out of this. So even if one country gets out of this problem, then all countries can actually learn from each other, and we can
Yeah.
all get through all of this together. Because this is a human crisis currently. Everyone is going through it. It's not a one person's problem or a one country's problem. So I hope
Absolutely.
Spain gets out of it.
A bit scary, right? Because it
Yeah.
started, we kind of, I think we thought that it was kind of something that was happening in Asia and that it wouldn't make it really to Europe. But Europe's been hit very hard, and now the US is being hit very hard.
Exactly.
And the US, like India, the cases are rising.
Even
So,
for us, we didn't think that it's gonna hit us as well. I mean, like I'll be very honest, when we would hear about this, we were actually very busy with our own schedule. So I was busy with doing my own things, and I just heard from somewhere that there's a new kind of virus going on. So I was like, okay, fine, because we had that, right? We had Zika virus and all those things, and they were in certain part of India, then they were not anywhere. And there were some virus who were in other parts of the world, but there was not a pandemic. I've never addressed a pandemic myself. So, this was something very new to me when this happened, and it spread like fire, and it
yeah,
was very new, and of course, it was very scary because when we were like, okay, fine, our neighbor is having it, then we were like, okay, fine, this country is also suffering from it, and then suddenly it started spreading to all over the world. Of course, it was very surprising and scary at the same time. It was
Yeah.
as if there's no cure to it because, of course, there's no vaccine. And that was the most scariest part. Like, there's no vaccine and the whole world is going through it. Who's going to get out of it and who's going to make us sail through all of this? Of course, it was very
Yeah.
scary. But I guess,
But as you said, it's
things,
been very hopeful too to see the other
yeah,
countries' responses and see that some are getting it under control. At least that gives hope.
yeah, that is really a hopeful news. That is, I guess, only that is something that keeps us sane in this insane time. Because as for Vietnam, we heard that even when the country does not have a lot of medical equipment, they got out of it, and a lot of problems, and they are doing pretty well. They're doing great, actually. I had a conversation with them, so they're doing great. So I guess this is hopeful. We can learn from it. At least, of course, India is also facing problems, but I guess we're not facing it as much as America, or I hope Italy. In some cases, even the recovery rate in India is higher. So,
Yeah,
more than 50% people are getting recovered.
that's
So that is
great.
something, yeah, that is something great. Even the death rate is not that high. So that is something that fuels hopes in these hopeless souls currently, because
Yeah.
everyone is very hopeless currently. So yeah, I hope
It's easy to
everyone
feel hopeless. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's very easy to feel hopeless in this current situation, but I hope everyone is getting strength from everybody currently.
Yeah, I think we realize we're in this together.
Yeah,
But it will be
right.
interesting to see how things move forward because, with the travel restrictions, I think the world is going to feel more separated in a different way, right?
Exactly. And I don't think travel is going to resume any day soon now, because
No.
people are not thinking to travel any day. And the tourist places are hit badly. Then where will you travel?
Yeah.
The only places that you would love to travel are already hit by all this virus. So
Right.
then
And you
where will
don't
you
want to
travel
bring it
now?
back to your community or make it spread in a new
Exactly.
community. So we all have to try to
Exactly.
be responsible. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. That is what is going on. Even, countries might lift travel ban a lot of, but I don't think people are gonna voluntarily travel a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. In
Because
Spain, we are
what is
allowed to travel as of next week around the country.
okay.
Um, but I think certain international like travel just isn't going to happen in the next at least 6 months, I think, but we'll see.
Yeah, I hope. Like, even I think that international travels are going to be banned. Like, international travels are not going to happen anytime soon, because that is going to bring, we are at a risk of bringing something with us,
Yeah,
while traveling internationally. Of course, domestically, we are hoping that, it's not area wise spread. So, of course, we're hoping that, in a domestic field, of course, we do not bring and transmit this disease. But internationally, I guess it's gonna be a risky factor. So I don't
yeah.
think any country is gonna allow this.
And even those long plane flights, I think that seems very hard that you would be able to protect people from getting it in an 8-hour flight. Whereas if you're traveling within the country, maybe you take your own car and you can avoid breathing the same air as a bunch of other people. But
Exactly.
hmm,
And traveling is gonna be so hard. Even imagine, even after 6 months down the lane, even if everything get back to normal, do you think travel is gonna be the same as it was before? It's gonna be very hard.
I think it will
People
be
are
very
gonna be
different
very,
until we
very,
find a
yeah, of
vaccine.
course.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. People are gonna be very, very scary, and they're not gonna touch people. They're not gonna communicate with a lot of people, and that was traveling was all about.
Yeah.
Traveling was about mingling with people. Then suddenly you're actually stopped from talking to people. Then traveling will not be that fun until we find a vaccine, of course.
That's true.
Until we find a cure of it, traveling will not be the same. So
Yeah.
that is something that is really heartbreaking, because I love traveling a lot. So
Yeah, I feel
that is
your
really
pain.
heartbreaking.
Where
That is really heartbreaking.
where have you traveled to that you've enjoyed?
I've actually traveled a lot in India. So
Mhm.
there are a lot of places. I live in western part of India, so I mostly travel to northern India, because western part of India is currently receiving a lot of sun rays. We're in the tropical area,
Oh,
So here summers are very, very hot. So we mostly travel to northern India. I would even love to travel to eastern and southern India because they're beautiful as well. So I really love snow and mountains. Maybe also because as I said, I'm in western part of India. So I was thinking to travel again this year, and yeah, but it all stopped.
yeah. Well, hopefully you'll be
Exactly,
able to
and
travel again soon. Yeah.
I hope as well, but I'm not thinking of that. Like in Spain, because virus is under control, you're thinking of resuming the travel next week. We're not we're not thinking of doing that anytime soon because we're not even thinking of going out of our homes, let alone travel.
Yeah.
Because the cases are still on strike, so we're not thinking of doing that anytime soon.
I think India started after Spain. Yeah.
Yeah, it
So
did,
that
it did, it
explains
did.
why they're still sort of in the up. I just looked up the
Yeah,
numbers, so I see it now. But it's true that
yeah,
even it hasn't peaked the same way that Spain peaked. Peaked was like
yeah.
all of a sudden we had almost 10,000 cases in late March.
For
And
India, it hasn't been that way. Yeah, correct.
yeah, so that's reassuring that it's
But
gone slowly. And also, as you said, that more people are recovering. But it's true, maybe travel won't be coming too soon. But
yeah, exactly. No, I mean, like, I know I get that. And, we're really happy that for India, the cases have not spiked the way it has been for another countries. Because, when a lot of information data was coming that, suddenly there were 10,000 cases in our country in a day. So we were pretty scared. And for India, it hasn't been that way. But because the cases are still rising and they're still coming, of course, we're not, as much confident as we were before
yeah,
for traveling and for going out and for doing other stuff as well. Because the cases are still there. Of course, it's not, it has been come to zero yet. So until it comes to zero, or at least it, started gradually declining, we're not confident yet
right.
of whether we should do the normal things or not.
And
So
that's
that is what the cures
responsible.
is all about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about being responsible. Be responsible for yourself, for your people, for your surroundings. At least that is something that you should do. That one thing you cannot blame government for, right? That is something that you need to volunteer for.
Absolutely.
So I guess that is what we are thinking and trying to do.
That's
This
great.
is what has been the journey has been. For 3 months, I guess that is all the people are doing. They're being staying at home, being safe. Even when the lockdown has been raised and we're in a partial lockdown, people are not being irresponsible. They're not going out that much. I
That
don't know about other places. At least
that's
my
very good.
surrounding has been responsible.
I don't know. I've seen some things in the States that in the US they were actually protesting the lockdown and they didn't want to be told to stay home. And so a lot of people were not listening to the lockdown and they were still going out and they were still opening their businesses and they were even having parties and going on vacation. And I think that's one of the reasons why the US is still fighting with the virus. Whereas in
I
Spain,
don't know what has been with this, been with this US currently,
mhm,
because we don't expect people, especially US people, to do so. I don't know why they have been reacting that way. Of course, I understand the protesters and everything, and they're doing it for a cause, and we all support them for that. But for the parties and everything, I guess it's not justified currently.
yeah, I
So
think it's very
we
different.
cannot throw a party at this point of time. That cannot be supported, right?
Yeah,
That is something that we cannot support. Protests are different things. That's for a cause, and it's unfortunate that something has come, at this particular point of time. A lot of
yeah,
things came at one particular point of time, so people didn't get a lot of time to recover from one
that's
shock. There was
true.
one shock, then another shock, of course, you cannot blame people for that. But for parties, for throwing parties and for opening businesses, even when you know that you're not safe, I guess that is something that you cannot debate on.
Yeah, and I think
I
the
don't know why people are
protesters at
doing
least are were taking precautions. Like for the Black Lives Matter, they wear masks, they try to maintain distances, they do everything outside, which is supposed to be safer. But
that. Exactly.
yeah, it's like two different spectrums, right? And each state has different rules
Yeah,
about
exactly.
what they're allowed or not allowed to do.